We're live. Shh.
Well, hello, hello, hello. How is everybody this evening? Hopefully, everybody had a great day on today, and God has been walking with you all day and all afternoon. We welcome you to the Igloo for yet another live series of Level Up Monday Night. From what I hear, temperatures around the nation are far more mild than they were this time last week, um, and we are very
Just a little
thankful.
bit. Just
Just a little bit. So I know here it was like 21 degrees. That's about as cold as, and it was 21 degrees with a feel like of 8. So, and I'm in Florida, so that's hypothermic weather for us. So, but anyway, we got
but also,
something.
when people like are from areas that have snow,
Yes.
they just make fun of our commentary on like 21 degrees. It's freezing.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
we had, unfortunately, a family gathering because of a family funeral, and my cousin Scott was totally rightfully so making fun of me because he was like, I was like, I'm a little cold, and he's like, oh, you're cold. Oh, you're cold here in El Paso. You're cold, and I was like, okay, I know it's cute, I know it's cute, but like, we're not used to this kind of weather. You have to
Yes.
understand.
I
And
mean,
also, like, I would love to be in the areas of snow where he is in his part of the
yeah,
country. But I digress. Today we're
yeah.
talking about El Paso.
There we
No
go.
inclement weather.
No inclement weather. Well, we
Well, except
cannot
for
say
like a random flood of 2006,
that.
random freeze of 2021, which is when I realized we're not on the same electric grid as the rest of
There you
Texas.
go.
Or at least 90%, because like some up in the panhandle are like on the same electric grid as us. But yeah, we're just kind of like a little different, but El
Yeah.
Paso, Texas represent right here.
Representing, representing.
Yeah.
Representing. So as um
What
Krista
do
said,
you know about El Paso? Start it like that,
um
Marcus.
what do you know about El Paso? You
No,
live
no,
there.
Marcus. What was the first thing that you said? Oh my gosh, you knew the Marty Robbins song.
Oh yeah, down in the west, the Texas town of El Paso. I remember that line. And then I think he says
No, no, keep going. That was good. Keep going.
I fell in love with a Mexican girl. It's like that. I think one of
Can I do
the
better, please? Because you just butchered it.
what what? How did I butcher it?
Because you didn't sing it all in in a row. You
Okay.
sang like three words and then you're
Out
like,
in the
and then
west
blah, blah, blah,
Texas
blah.
town of El Paso, I fell
Yeah,
in
I fell
love
in love
with
with a
a Mexican
Mexican
girl.
girl.
So yeah, hopefully that was a little more fluent. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. The it's the out in the West Texas town of El Paso. Like it catches attention in a
It
way that
catches
even
attention.
you were like, you sent me the Marty Robbins song. I was like, oh my gosh, you know that? Like, if people know El Paso, that's one of the things that they will know. It's either like that, the Marty Robbins song, like
Yeah.
El Paso, night times will find me in Rose's Cantina.
Yes.
Music will play and Felina will whirl.
You see,
By the
that's the
way,
thing. I didn't know the whole song. I just knew like that one half of
exactly.
a stanza. So yeah. But
Because it's catchy, that it
yeah.
catches attention. Like people
Yes.
can quote that one line.
That
Like
one line, and that's it. So yeah.
exactly, but
But
it's also the birthplace of the margarita, by the
ooh,
way, El Paso. So if you've ever had a margarita,
all right.
well, not me, but I mean,
Yes.
out in the old west.
Out in the yeah.
Wait, hold on. I don't even. I get glitched on the words. Out in the old west Texas town of El Paso. There we go. I fell in love with a Mexican girl.
What didn't he just say out in the west? I didn't think. I don't think he said out in the old west, did he? Or did he?
Out in the West Texas. Okay,
Yeah,
you're right.
I thought he said out in the west.
And get checked.
So
Out in the West Texas. Yeah, you're right.
there's too many
Okay, fine.
syllables to
You
add
know more
old.
about El Paso than me. Go
Yeah.
ahead, take the episode.
Just, yeah. But anyway, well, as far as El Paso is concerned, as far as what I am aware of regarding El Paso, it is on literally directly on, sitting upon the international border of Mexico and the United States.
The
Um,
wall, like 10 minutes away from my apartment.
wow.
Like I have friends all over the country, and we have a little Marco Polo group, and I've taken videos driving like down the wall and showing them like this is what the border wall looks like, because
Nice.
the media says one thing, but people don't
Right.
know what's going on.
Right.
And also, I showed them this is where all of the people are claiming asylum, like thousands and
Right.
thousands on the streets back in 2023, May of
Yeah.
2023. And so, yeah, it's a fascinating place. What else do you know about us?
Well, I see here that it is 80% Hispanic. And I kind of laughed when I saw that because I was like, I was thinking of the song again, out in the West Texas, town of El Paso. I fell in love with a Mexican girl. It's like, well, if it's 80% Hispanic, it's, yeah, if you're going to fall in love with anybody, she's probably going to be Mexican, but anyway,
It's exactly the
you
thing
know,
that makes that song so famous
yeah,
because, like, I don't know, is there another song that talks about like falling in love with a Mexican girl that has become famous in any way? Like, it's sort of this iconic experience that Marty
right.
Robbins, where was he born? He wasn't born here, right?
I think, talking about songs, I think Elton John has one, Nikita. I think that was it. I think she was Mexican. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so people don't even know. Like here, that's all I know.
Yeah.
Like we are a Hispanic demographic. It's over 80%. It actually just a few years ago it was 86%. I think
Wow.
I was talking to my dad recently, and he told me the statistic. Because as we talk, like we we look up statistics, and so my dad told me. Well, actually, hold on, I have it written down. What is it? 81%, I believe, right now.
Wow.
81% Hispanic, and that's fascinating.
It
Because
is.
what
Very much
other
so.
city looks like that? And I think it's the second most prominent Hispanic demographic in the nation. I mean, not that I think I know, I just, like look
Mm-hmm.
at my notes. But I think it's second to San Antonio with the second
Really?
largest Hispanic demographic in the nation. And so if you don't live in that, like environment, you're just kind of not familiar with the
Yes.
culture and the infiltration of the belief system. Being that it's primarily Catholic and
Mm-hmm.
also Democrat, um, and being in Texas, that's quite
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. Very interesting.
I'm
Very
like, I
interesting.
grew up in a red family in a blue city in a red state. Not
Uh,
just a red state, but like kind of the biggest in the nation, like in the lower 48. And we're in El Paso. Like, we're part of Texas, but also,
yes.
like, New Mexico's right down the road from my apartment.
Yes.
It's literally 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
And Mexico is 10 minutes away. I'm gesturing as if I'm in my apartment. I'm in my parents' home, so it's not quite the same.
Mm.
Because New Mexico is like an hour away from here. But in my apartment, I sort of sit in the, like, literally in the middle of being in Texas,
Yes.
being in a border town, sitting on the border, being able to go over the border and experience that,
Right.
and understanding what the implications of the immigration system and people flowing in, for asylum and downtown at the Sagrado Corazon, like
Right.
I've donated things to people, like the immigrants coming in. Like we sort of sit on the forefront, and they call us
Right.
a borderplex. And so, like in Texas, the Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin,
Right.
it's called like the metroplex. Like we're the borderplex. We're the
The
borderplex.
border
We're
fix.
El
Okay.
Paso, Mexico, New Mexico, and we're all in the same time zone,
Mhm.
and like the metroplex, because it would be really weird being so close to two different states, another country,
Right.
and not being on the same time zone.
Right.
So it's just kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
And I digress again. What else do you know, Metabazo?
Well, let's see. The Oh, we got some history here. The Mexican American War was in 1846. Did that take place in El Paso?
Okay, so history, as far as I know, um, El Paso. I literally hear the echo of my parents listening to this YouTube.
Okay. Hold the phone, guys. Take two.
It's distracting me. It's okay,
And we're
mom
back.
and dad. Literally, if you have anything to contribute, just open the door. I'm just getting distracted because I'm hearing the replay and I'm like, anyway. All right, so it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was 1598 that,
Yes,
have you ever heard the phrase Don Juan? Like,
I
or
have.
someone being called a Don Juan. Okay, so the
Yes.
actual Don Juan. Um,
I never
who
knew what
crossed
that
the
meant.
border. What?
I never knew what that meant, though. I've heard the phrase. I just never knew
Yes.
the significance of
Yeah.
the phrase. Anyway.
So, that's one of the ways that it like came about. And so Don Juan basically like came across the Rio Grande in, I think it was 1598, and he called this like whole area Paso, like Paso del Norte. And
Yes.
so then during the Mexican American War, what did you say, 1846? Okay, so the
Yes.
Mexican American War, specifically, it was the Battle of Guadalupe Hidalgo that sequestered this area and conquered it for the US. And so they drew lines after, like, the war was in 1846. Like in 1850, they drew the lines
Mhm.
of Texas and it became an official part of the US. So this area has been inhabited by like a lot of different people, a lot of different um, tribes, cultures, and I think it is part of what makes it what it is today,
Right.
because it truly is a melting pot. But this melting pot is not the same as like the melting pot you would see like in LA
Right.
or
Right.
in New York, where there's a lot of different people and
Yes.
culture and ethnicity. This is different because we're like a family.
Right.
So it's like a melting pot, but no one's forgotten, no one is left out.
Yes.
And it is this predominantly Hispanic culture, which is, well, it was like 86% a few years ago, but as El Paso has grown, I think
Mhm.
it is like 800, I don't know, maybe like 700,000 people right now. I mean, if you include the county of El
Right.
Paso, or if you include the borderplex, no, yes, borderplex, not metroplex, borderplex, it's like 3 million if you include Las Cruces and New
Right.
Mexico area and us and Juarez. It's like 3 million. But
Okay.
here in El Paso, it is like a small town feel, but we are actually a big city. I think we're the second biggest, like in Texas. And so it's really interesting because
Second biggest in Texas? Really? Okay.
I think so. I think it's like because the other cities in Texas, there's suburbs all around it.
Right. That's what I was thinking. It must
So
be
in El
more.
Paso, like El Paso is one number,
Right.
but if you include the county, that includes, New Mexico and
Right.
different areas. But in other places, for example, Dallas, like, okay, Dallas, when someone says they live in Dallas, but usually they don't live, their address is not
Right.
literally Dallas, it's one of the
They live
suburbs.
in Plano
So,
or
so I
Mesquite or
think it
something
is.
like that.
I don't know. I don't know. My dad is like good at fact checking. He could probably like say if I'm right before
Gotcha.
I ever say this again. But yeah, it's like a major place in Texas, but we sit on mountain time. We are not central. So, when you think of someone from Texas, Marcus, for example, you think central time, right?
Yes, I would tend to think Central Time. Yeah.
Hence you being confused all the time. You're like, what?
Yes. What time is it there now? Yeah.
Right? Right? Because you don't yeah, because we're like the outlier, the weirdo. People are like, "Oh, you're in Central, you're in Texas," and I'm like, "Actually, no, we're like the
Yeah,
only major city in Texas
we're
that's
in
on mountain time."
yeah,
Um, and we're not on the same electric grid either, which is what I discovered in the freeze of 2021.
yes.
The rest of Texas, didn't know what's going on.
I
And
said, yes, how you?
apparently, yeah,
So,
it's just different. And so there's like these factors that like they make sense
hmm
because we need to be on that time zone. I don't know about the electric grid part, but also just the demographic in Texas versus the rest of the state. And El Paso is primarily Democrat, and we live in a red state.
yes,
And
very,
so
very red
that's
state.
fascinating here,
Yeah,
given like the immigration issues
yeah,
that the nation is in uproar over, and we're like, we see it firsthand. You
yeah,
want to know what happens? Like when people flow over the border and seek asylum outside the church, the
yeah.
Sagrado Corazon church, and there's thousands there, and they don't have water or food.
Right.
Like this is why it's not okay because we want to welcome people in, but making them feel like that when they thought they could come in, but we don't have the infrastructure to support
Mhm.
it.
Right.
That's not what us as a city want to portray.
Yes.
We are the border city. Like it is iconic. It is like no other. You can't replicate this demographic even if you tried. And so there are a lot of particular things that are um, I think special to El Paso. But I've talked enough. Go ahead. You ask
Well,
questions. Say your thoughts. I'm curious.
I was very interested when I read that it has its own power grid. I thought that was pretty interesting. Um,
Not that it has its own power grid. It is on a
right.
different power grid of the
Oh,
rest of it.
okay.
So like 90% of the state is on one power grid, and like us and certain parts of the state up in the Panhandle are on
hmm
the same power grid.
Oh, okay. I got you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
So during the freeze of 2021, and everyone's like filling their bathtubs with water, and like
Right.
my my cousin my cousin Valeria, where we're talking about like there's no power and all of that, and she's in the Dallas area, and so it's fascinating because we're both in Texas, but
hmm
she's experiencing something totally different than I am in the same state, but we're also not even on the same time zone.
Right.
So it is just this very interesting place that is at the like furthermost corner of the country. This like one little dot that intersects Mexico and New
Yes.
Mexico. And then there's the rest of Texas. And this place in El Paso doesn't necessarily represent the political views of the rest of Texas because it's
Right.
primarily Democrat. And we're also low income, minority demographic. So it's not really like the rest of the state
No. You know. So.
at all. And it creates this very interesting dynamic of
Yes.
the state, the city, politics as a whole, and the
hmm
administration. The also there's a very very large military presence here. I believe it's the currently now the largest in the nation. So
Really?
there is Fort
Nice.
Bliss, William Barmont, William Beaumont Army Medical Center. Sorry, my dad retired from there.
It's
That's
all
weird.
good. No
And then
judgment. No judgment.
uh, like Biggs Army Field, and so there's these large there's this large military presence that also I think is why El Paso has been consistently named year after year one of the top safest cities and has actually received awards for that.
Ooh.
So given that we're on the border of the area of Juarez, which is very dangerous, one of the most dangerous areas, people hear about El Paso, and if they know nothing, they may associate it with that. Like,
Right.
that's scary. I don't want to go to El Paso. because El Paso's small in the large state of Texas, if you don't know anything about it, you're just going to know what the media tells you. And what
Right.
the media tells you is that El Paso is super close to dangerous,
Right.
environments, and yet it was consistently awarded for years. I mean, like 2011 to 2014, maybe even 2015, it was like the top one of the top safest cities in America.
Right.
That is fascinating given that right over the border, there are all of these issues.
Yes.
So El Paso has this very interesting presence because I don't think that the administration, in the White House or even other cities really know what
Right.
it's like to live in El Paso.
Right.
And, unless and my dad is born and raised in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Right.
I look like him. Translucent, burned by sitting in a hot car. But my mom's family is from here, and it's Hispanic.
Right.
And so, mi abuelita, like, and my mom, it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Understanding El Paso, being born and raised here, but also not looking like anyone else because I'm tall, white, I'm 5'10". Like, that's really tall.
That's my height. Yeah.
Like, oh, be hanging out with friends and people like selling candy come by and they're like, híjole. Like, because I was wearing heels that night and they're not used to seeing me like clock in at 6'2".
Gotcha.
It's fascinating because also I don't speak the language fluently. So I stand in this middle ground. Entiendo mucho, pero hablo poco. And so I don't speak it, but also because times were different when my mom was
Yeah.
growing up here in the city. Like a lot of my mom and her friends and my friends' parents don't speak Spanish fluently,
Right.
because they weren't allowed to in school back then.
No.
They couldn't. They would get spanked if they spoke Spanish. And um, so this is my home, but it's like I stand in this middle ground of like, I don't look like the majority of El Paso. I don't speak Spanish, but this is my home. This is my home. This is the home of the Texas NCAA championship in 1966, with the first all-black starting lineup ever.
For sure.
This is the place of like these amazing things, and if
Was that
if
at
you
the University of Texas, El Paso?
yeah, it was called Texas Western at the time.
Ah.
So it was at UTEP. That's my college. So when I went to college, I started college in 2004. They were
Mm-hmm.
filming the movie Glory Road,
Mm-hmm.
which is about the championship. So I got the permit for my parking lot according to like where my classes were.
Right.
And then they shut down the campus all in the middle of that.
Right.
So I ended up getting out of class here. And this is where my car was. And this was all filming, Glory Road area. Like, but it was very cool because even though there were like frustrating times where I'm like, I'm gonna be late for work. And I'm running like the long way around the Sun Bowl to get to my car because it
Right.
was shut down. And there was no, like, I was gonna say trolley, there was no like bus that was there. I was gonna be late, so I ran. Even those moments, though, were so cool because I got to see the filming of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which then when I saw the movie, and that is my alma mater, that's
Yeah.
UT El Paso. There is something special in like what El Paso has to offer in a lot of ways, whether it be famous because of the Marty Robbins song, or it's Rose's Cantina and the birth of the margarita, or the Texas Western Championship. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
other things we have the Plaza Theater, which is one of the only experiential theaters of its kind, built in Spanish colonial architecture. It was
Right.
built in 1930. And my mom would tell us stories about going to this Plaza Theater downtown. And their moms would like be going shopping and the kids would
Mhm.
like go to the movies, and it was like a dime to go to the movie. And
Right.
it was built in 1930, shut down in 75, and then reopened in 2006. And so after it was shut down, sometime in the like early like mid 90s, it was getting renovated,
Mhm.
and so they put it out there to El Paso that they were renovating the Plaza Theater. And one of our family friends, Joe Alcantara, he's on the board. And so I didn't know anything about the Plaza. I'd never been there. I mean, it was dead before I was even born.
Right.
And dead meaning like the city wanted to turn it into a parking lot because it wasn't getting the revenue anymore from
Mm.
the olden days where in the 1930s all the way up to 75 it was this experience, and there's twinkling lights on the ceiling as you watch a movie. You know, there the amount of options that opened in El Paso that contradicted, or not contradicted that, but like added to the
Yes.
possibilities, made people not feel like it was as important as it was unless they knew it was, because they knew the history. Like I knew the Plaza Theater is a thing, was a thing, and I've always wanted it to be the way that my mom would describe. They had up to 7 alligators outside the Plaza Theater,
As
and
live alligators or statues? Live.
live alligators.
Okay.
Now there's a statue
Okay.
because they had to get rid of the alligators because people were like feeding them human
Right.
food and
Right.
stuff, or aggravating them, and people just can't be nice to the things they. So there is a statue of alligators in the middle of the plaza downtown now, as it's been renovated. There is a statue of alligators, um,
Very nice.
reminiscing those days, and that was just sort of iconic. This theater that you ride the bus with your siblings to go see a movie, and you pay a dime, and you see the alligators outside, and you like
Hmm.
look at them, and you see these stores. I don't remember. I think one was called the Popular. There's like these certain big stores downtown that it was the thing to do.
Hmm.
And so if you keep the memories alive, then you don't lose the legacy. So the memories of the Plaza Hotel have now been restored because when they tried to turn it into a parking lot in 1975 or so, um, oh no, 1986 I think it was, because in 1987 that was when it was announced that like the Plaza Theater was being rebuilt, and it
Right.
took all the way up till 2005 to finish it. And I remember sitting in that theater when my mom took us, and she pointed out like the board members like pictures on the walls as we walked up, like the ones that are helping make this happen. And I remember them talking on the stage, and this thing was like dusty, like it was gross. Like this, it looked like a run down old building. And I listened to the guy talk about what they were going to do, and it was going to take 10 years. So from 1996 to 2006, when it opened, it was going to take 10 years. And I remember looking up, being like, this looks like not anything like my mom described coming to as a kid, but the way they're describing it, and infiltrating with gold the
Right.
architecture on the sides, and renewing certain things while keeping the original of like the old chairs and the red velvet chairs that you sit in. Like the experience of the Plaza Theater, and the history it has, but also just the experience of it, going into the women's bathroom, it's like going into this old school early 1900s. Like there's like vanity sitting area with
Hmm.
couches, and and when you went to the theater in the olden days, and that was what you did for the evening. That's different. And dressing up and being presentable and wanting to see other people there, it's different than the way the world lives these days, because it's
Oh
easy to
yeah.
just rent it online or stream
Right.
the movie.
Right.
And back then it was an experience and it was the only option. And so I think that El Paso has sort of been able to keep these like significant places important, because we have enough people talking about the legacy to our generation, the
Hmm.
older generation talking about the arts and the business and the investments. Like they have enough memories that are infiltrating into El Paso to make us see the beauty of where we live in places like the Star on the Mountain. It's like 450 bulbs, and it's a star on the mountain that represents what El Paso has to offer. And it is paid for by the city, but sponsored by anybody who wants to light it up for any reason. I remember when Dean Nachman, my boss at the university at UTEP, when he retired, they lit the Star on the Mountain for him. And people
Nice.
donated and can sponsor to light the Star on the Mountain as a beacon of hope, because you can see it from across the border, and you see it while driving on the freeway, and you may not know what it is while you're passing by, but when you see that star on the mountain, there is something in that that is beautiful.
Hmm.
And then don't even get me started on the sunsets in El Paso. You know, it's beautiful. And if you don't know, you don't know, but if you know, you know.
Hey, if you snow, you know. Um,
If you snow, you know. I mean, not with
um,
me, with my parents. If you snow, you know.
well, there you go. There you
They
go.
know the things.
One thing I am curious about, we've discussed the dynamic or the demographic, I should say, of how many Hispanic, how much of the population is dominated by Hispanics in El Paso, Texas. One thing I'm curious to know is what is the demographic like on the college campus? Because sometimes you have, especially on a major college campus, you have people coming in from other areas. Is it as dominant a Hispanic population on at UTEP as it is in the city itself? Or
Actually, yes. Yes, it is.
it is?
And the reason is because I don't remember when. It would have been probably during the 80s or 90s. Apparently, there was this establishment, and it was created probably by multiple people, but one of them specifically was Dr. Diana Natalicio,
Mhm.
and she was the president of UTEP for over 30 years, the longest reigning president of any state university, basically. Um, she is iconic. Forbes 100 list of women of influence. She did major things. She passed away several years ago. Um, but one thing that she changed here in El Paso decades ago was the fact that the university was mostly white. It didn't
Right.
reflect the campus. I mean, it didn't reflect the city of where the campus lies.
Hmm.
And so Dr. Natalicio, when she became president, she started questioning this, because the university, a state university in the city it resides, should reflect the population of its people. Why were minorities not predominant? And it's because of a lot of factors, a low income, not knowing how to even apply, not
Right.
knowing if you can afford it, or about grants or federal aid, not having parents that ever went to college. If you look at El Paso, there's like less than 75% of El Paso, last I knew, like had a college degree in the first place,
Hmm.
a master's degree. It's we live in a city where people work, they support their families, they do what
Right.
they need to do. Like they weren't thinking about, oh, I could go to college.
Right.
And Dr. Natalicio changed that. She changed that so that the university now reflects the demographic of El Paso. It is not just white people that have come in on scholarships for sports and don't look anything like
Right.
the demographic here, because if you come in on scholarship, you're living in the dorms, right?
Right.
This is a commuter school. Like we live with our parents and we work jobs and drive
Right.
back and forth. Like Dr. Natalicio wanted to make UTEP representative and effectively educational and cost wise possible for the people in El Paso.
Right.
And I love that because her motto was like, you don't have to spend bukus of money to get a quality education. And she wasn't about the money, she was about the people. And so she built this university that has stayed systematically at this affordable level
Leather.
year after year as the was to say population enrollment has
Mhm.
increased year after year.
Nice.
And so the dynamic of what El Paso has to offer is shown now in the UTEP student
Right.
demographic because the students here, they work hard. They have a work ethic. I remember traveling to Lockheed Martin as I was starting a corporate partnership with
Hmm.
them in ERP systems. And I remember one of the guys at Lockheed Martin saying, we love people from El Paso. Like most people, their parents paid for college, they went to college, and they definitely don't speak another
Right.
language or are
Right.
bilingual for one thing, but they also like they're humble.
Mhm.
The people in your city are humble. They they don't expect things to be offered to them.
Right.
They work for it, and they have always worked for it. Therein lies the problem when people take advantage
Yes.
of us. But people have noticed Newark, New Jersey, Prudential, Financial, they started a program in risk management with us and then got an entire another department involved when they realized how many Hispanics we have and how many smart people, ethically, morally responsible, hard work ethic driven people.
Right.
And so people are interested in El Paso, but it's fascinating to me because here in El Paso, we're not thinking about that stuff. Like
Right.
the El Paso culture is family. We may fight. Just look at El Paso Fit Fam on Instagram. Just look.
Okay.
We get all up in each other's
That's so fit.
business.
Yeah, we
You
like that.
shouldn't be drinking and driving. You shouldn't be talking to that little kid like that. What? But when something brings us together, like a little kid who had no one show up to his birthday party, no one, and his mom posted asking if people could lift his heart. There were blocks and blocks and blocks of cars of
That's
people to wish him, that little boy that didn't feel loved that day. There were people there to show him he was worth it and he was worthy. And I think the heavily Hispanic demographic here that brings the culture and the family and the love for your mom. Like you come home to mama for Christmas. You want the judgy face that she gonna
right.
give you? Mm,
Yeah.
okay. No. We come home for family because we want to.
Right.
But we also have this faith driven, God focused family loyalty, work hard culture because of the Hispanic culture, which is heavily based on faith and family
Right.
and hard work and loving people. Even if you fight with them, we come together. We
Yeah.
bicker. Hey, we're a whole lot of Mexicans. We loud, we be grouchy, but we come together when it matters here in El Paso.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that have, um, you know, created that. There's a lot of aspects of El Paso being where it is that is very interesting. We're like within just a few hours of multiple state and national parks,
Right.
White Sands, Waco Tanks. Like there is an experience here of the borders right there, Mexico's right there, 2.5 hours away is the mountains, Ruidoso. You could go overnight. White Sands, Waco Tanks. I mean, there's more. Like I'm blanking out, but there is a lot of demographic, like location
Mm-hmm.
factors that make El Paso very cool. But the thing that makes it the most amazing to me is the humility of the people here.
Sweet. Sweet. But well, I did have one question as far as hospitality. I mean, and I think you pretty much just answered it. Been to places like I know back in the day, just to give an example, I had this was a college project. We were in Manhattan, and I stayed there for about 3 4 days. I remember I was walking down the street. Everybody is like literally they have their minds on themselves and what they're doing and where they're going and whatever they're trying to accomplish that day. And I'm walking down the street and I had a box of pencils and I don't know how it happened, but the box of pencils fell out of my backpack. I turned around to pick the box of pencils up and I literally could not get to the box of pencils. I literally had to. It was just gone. Nobody was gonna help me pick them up. Nobody was gonna, you know, you can try to pick them up, but you're probably gonna get trampled. So just go get another box of pencils. But I bring that up to say, what is if you were to drop something in El Paso, or if you were to drop your favorite necklace or something, is somebody going to pick your necklace up and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, you dropped your necklace. It looked like it. You probably want this back." So I just wanted to give it back.
Yeah, like
You
trying to
think?
help
You
you,
think? Yeah.
basically.
What you
Will
think?
anybody help?
Yeah. So.
Yes, definitely. So back in 2004, I think it was probably my first semester of college, I had accidentally left my final paper in my car.
Hmm.
So I was in a liberal arts building at UTEP, and I had to like not leave class too early, but go to my car and get back to have time to turn in the final paper at the end of class.
Right.
And so I was in Crocs and I was running from the liberal arts building all the way to the parking lot. And then I ran all the way back. And then I got to the stairs at the liberal arts building and I clipped the stairs. And the liberal arts building at UTEP is a whole thing. It's a whole memory because UTEP is now like a non-smoking university or whatever.
Right.
For like the last 10 years. But back in 2004, it wasn't. So, like, there was a bunch of people hanging out, like, smoking outside and, like, talking on the, walkie talkies.
Right.
Like, remember back those the Nextel days?
Oh
Like,
yeah, the next
I
sales.
get really young. So, I tripped and my papers went poof
Oh
everywhere.
gosh.
Both of my Crocs fell off, like both of my shoes. I fell up the stairs. Both of my shoes went flying. And
Gosh,
those
that sucks.
people looked at me and like instantly put their cigarette out and are you okay? Picking up papers. That is El Paso. When you see someone that it gets hurt, we we're not just like, you okay? How can I help you?
Right.
And they picked up my papers and put my shoes back on. I walked
That's
back the rest of the way to class. I don't remember if I was late or not. Hopefully not. But I'll never forget that because that's one of those things that I feel like is special about El Paso because we we may not agree on a lot of things. I mean, we are a blue city in a red state. We don't agree on a lot of things already politically, right? But because of the infiltration of different cultures and different people, we are just used to loving and helping people, no matter who they are or
yeah,
no matter where they came from. El Paso Strong, it's not just a hashtag, it's a way of life.
yeah,
Hashtag El Paso Strong came from, when the Walmart murders happened and this guy drove from Allen, Texas and killed 23 people in a Walmart here in our city. This is the height of immigration issues that we see right here because he did not want Mexicans to take over Texas. He
right,
wrote a manifesto before he walked into that Walmart with an AK-47. You know, that Walmart is 5 minutes away from this house.
right,
So, this city, that guy that came here and hurt people and turned the gun away from white people
right,
to specifically target Mexicans. 23 is only the number that was killed. That's not how many
right,
more were injured.
right.
And this man, this guy, this kid, early 20s, he's an outsider.
Yeah,
He doesn't understand us. He doesn't understand the beauty of the city. So
right,
he just hates it instead. And I think the beauty of this city is that we seek to understand each other because we have to.
right,
We're a part of Texas. We're right next to New Mexico. We're partners with another country. In Juarez, we we are forced to understand each other in a way that makes us show love. And I think that's why a lot of people think El Paso feels like home.
hmm,
You can see the sunsets. You can have Mexican food homemade for you. You can go to Scenic Drive. You can hike the Franklin Mountains, which are the tip of the Rockies. It split the city in half. It's the only major city in Texas that has something like that. You can hike Mount Cristo Rey with the cross at the top, or take pictures of it as you see the sun go down behind it. Like the Plaza Theater is its own experience. And there is a lot if you're looking for it.
right,
And I think El Paso falls through the cracks because it is an outlier in one of those ways where we're a low income demographic. We don't look like the rest of the state or the rest of the nation. We don't even know what travel looks like in a lot of ways because we haven't had the money to travel outside of El Paso. There is a demographic here that is different, and it's like this Pandora's box of beauty to be tapped because of what El Paso has to offer. And it's my favorite place in the world. It's that somewhere over the rainbow for me.
wow. That is high praise, high praise. Well, it is 7:20. And I got to make sure we leave enough time. You mentioned Mexican food. We cannot leave the live without discussing where the best places to eat are in El Paso, Texas.
So here's the thing though, if you ask anybody, you're literally going to get a different answer.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of options. Okay, Kiki's is my one of my top favorite restaurants.
Okay.
I like Kiki's, I like Julio's, I like L&J's. Um, there's a lot of good Mexican food in El Paso, and typically I would say it's the hole in the wall places.
Right.
So you kind of have to know someone.
Well,
It's not like you go
well,
like Google El Paso, find the best places. You like need a guide.
yeah,
By the way, if anyone ever comes to El Paso, you need a guide. I'm here. I volunteer tribute.
there you go.
Let me introduce you to my city. Um, but there's also iconic places like Chico's Tacos here, which like if you're wearing a Chico's Taco shirt, you're anywhere in the U.S. Like Chico's Tacos is an El Paso thing. Um, so uh, it, okay, let me describe it to you. So Marcus,
Yes,
it's do you know what a flauta is? Like a rolled taco, Christy?
I've never heard of it. No.
Okay, so it's like oh dang, I need like a picture.
Is it like a tortilla, kind of?
Yes, but it's like filled with ground meat and it's fried. So there's like three of them in a row. And
Yes.
then you put cheese and then you put sauce over all of it.
This is gonna sound really cheesy, but I remember a skit. They were showing something. This was like I was a little kid. They had a skit showing how, and I think that's what they were making. It had a like it was like a little wrap. They put meat in it, they put cheese in it, and then they wrapped it up, and then they put a sauce over it. It sounds exactly like what you're describing now, and the little kid was talking about working with his dad, and they had their own family business. So then he was talking about when we get done or we have a break for lunch, and so him and his friend are helping his dad at their business, and that he's all excited. And I don't know, now that I think back to that Sesame Street skit, they might have been in El Paso, Texas. I don't know, but yeah, I'm assuming it was a, what do you call it again?
Okay, so it's spelled Flauta.
Flauta. I'm gonna go
Flauta.
back and find that skit on
Flauta.
YouTube and see if they mention that. Maybe that's what. But anyway, I digress. Um, what
Yeah,
else is
so
great?
wait, so you don't know Mexican food, Marcus?
Not that well.
He doesn't know Mexican food, Mom.
Well, hello, Mrs. Snow. How are you?
Okay, I have to say one thing.
He
Yes, ma'am.
doesn't know what a flauta is. Oh my
No,
gosh.
you're from Florida.
Oh my gosh.
If I was in Miami, I'd probably know what a flauta is. But yeah, I'm too
Okay,
far
we
north.
will introduce you, don't worry.
Okay, two things. If you
Okay.
talk to somebody long enough, like in your no matter where you are, if you talk to
Mhm.
somebody long enough, you will find out that you know the same people. Somewhere along the conversation,
Oh yeah.
they know somebody you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, only in El Paso, I think, if you mention you're from El Paso, you've lived here, born and
Mhm.
raised here, the first question you'll get asked is, what high school did you go to?
Yes. Yes. See, this is true for everybody else, though. You have to understand. Okay. So about 10 years ago, I was working at UTEP. My boss
Yes.
was the dean of the business college, Dean
Yeah.
Nachman. He's a kid from Brooklyn, as he calls himself. So, um, he was talking in our senior staff meeting about how it's fascinating that El Paso is like different than other people, other cities. He's been to like 37 countries and taught in them. And he's just like, El Paso is kind of like, it's interesting because,
Mhm.
all right, Krista calls me out in the meeting. He's like, Krista, if you're somewhere else and you're traveling and you meet someone from El Paso, what's the first thing you ask? And I was like,
No pressure.
um, and he's like, really? And there's like three other people chomping at the bit in the room being like,
Right. Right.
and I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like racking my brain. Like, I don't know what's the first thing you ask. And so he gives up on me. And he's like,
Mm.
okay, you ruined my example. Anybody else?
You might
And they're like, where'd you go to high school? And I was like, oh, oh. Okay, see, what happened was I was homeschooled. So like I didn't care where anybody went to high school. Like it's not a thing for me because I didn't
Right.
live it. I have no point of reference there.
Yeah.
I would never even think to ask that. But once they said it, I was like, oh, duh. Cause yeah, it's a total thing. Like, where'd you go? Oh, Franklin Coronado. Oh, you went to Franklin. I went to Coronado. Like Eastwood, Bel Air. Oh, Eastwood. Like it's a whole thing. The high school sports rivalries,
Oh yeah.
or just the experience. I don't know. I never had a yearbook. I never went to prom. I never like. I don't even know what a cafeteria looks like. Like, is it like movies
Yeah.
where like the cliques sit together and the popular ones are over there and the
Well,
nerds are here and like,
uh,
no, I literally have no idea.
speaking as one that went to public school and have been in many cafeterias, you haven't missed much. Trust me.
Well, that's
Um,
what everybody tells me. That's
yeah.
what everybody says. I'm like fascinated by high school, and they're just like,
Yeah.
it was. Well, I mean, it was like glory for some, and
I
just
mean the
anyway, it
few.
was whatever. And I'm just like, but I've never gone. I
Yeah.
don't even know what it looks
Yeah.
like to like sit
Yeah.
in a high school class.
Yeah.
Like I took the SAT at Eastwood, but like
Yeah.
and at Burgess.
I
No
mean, I
big deal.
guarantee you that the
But
food
like,
in the cafeteria line is not nearly as good as Kiki's. So yeah, I mean,
no, oh no.
uh, so,
But like, if you've never been to school, when they have lunchtime cafeteria free
yeah,
lunches during the summer, my mom took me and my brother. We loved that
yes.
pizza and mac and cheese, and because we
At the
didn't get
school
that at home.
cafeteria.
Like I like wheat bread and organic peanut butter. It was fun
Right.
to eat like the cafeteria food, which everybody else, all of our friends were like, ew. Like
Yeah, really. Yeah, yeah.
we'd rather bring our own lunches, and we're just like, we only eat our own lunches.
Now I will say, in high school, we had in our cafeteria they had one back there. She would always prepare nachos every single day with cheese. Now those are pretty good. Yeah, I do have to say. But yeah,
Okay, if you ever come to El Paso, we have to. My
yes,
brother and I will take you to have nachos somewhere.
absolutely. I'm sure I will at some point.
Definitely,
So, yeah.
100%. And a margarita, since El Paso is the home of the margarita. If you did not know that, now
Yes,
you do.
I do now. Yes, I do. Yes, yes, I do. Um, Rose Bowl. I thought that was in Pasadena. I see it on the list.
So we have the Sun Bowl here,
Right.
which is
Right.
the only other one.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have a game well, it used to be on New Year's every year. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so the Rose Bowl is an El Paso thing that doesn't really exist anywhere. Wait, did I say Rose Bowl? I meant Sun Bowl. We have the Sun
Yeah.
Bowl here.
Yeah, it says Rose. Okay, so you meant Sun. Okay, gotcha,
I
gotcha,
meant Sun Bowl. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
because I was
So we have
confused
the
there
Sun
for a
Bowl
second.
here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's the home of the Sun Bowl. It is the home of UTEP. What is what's UTEP's mascot?
Well, it's
Uh
UTEP
oh.
Miners, so the mascot is a miner
A miner. Okay, got you, got you, got you.
because it
So
was a mining school for engineering.
got you. So home of the
So
mighty miners.
home of the mining picks up.
Go miners.
Go
Um.
miners.
So I guess last question as we close out. So with their mascot being miners, is there a lot of mining in El Paso in the mountains?
That's a very good question. I know that initially it was a school of mines. So engineering has primarily for many, many years
Right.
until the past couple of decades been like predominantly populated
Right.
interest for UTEP. As far as mining, like currently,
Mm-hmm.
or if there's anything like that now, I don't. I have no idea. I have no idea. That's a
Okay.
very good question.
All right. Cool beans. Because
I was in
normally,
business, well, in music, major in business, minor in music,
right.
master in business.
Because I know no more. Normally, most colleges they their mascot has something to do with the dynamic of the area. Like my school, um, our mascot is an alligator. You know, we have a state full of alligators.
Appropriate.
But
Yeah, ours is a dude with a hat and a mustache, and his name is Peter Pete, and he carries an
Peter
axe.
Pete, is that the same? Is that the same guy that's on the hot sauce bottle? Texas Pete.
Don't forget the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl.
Yes, Sugar Bowl in New Orleans and the Orange Bowl in Miami.
We're taking
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Sugar. He even knew where they were.
Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Fiesta
You're
Bowl
right.
in Tempe, Arizona, I think.
I love it.
So anyway,
Not sure about that part of stuff, but
this is where I need Josiah on here.
I
Um,
know.
I know he.
Or
I know
someone to just sit behind my dad or
we could have
Josiah or
a
my mom to
we
sit
could,
back
we
and
could have we could
listen.
have like a whole conversation on this, but guys, we thoroughly hope that you have enjoyed learning about El Paso, Texas, this evening, and we thank Krista for explaining all of the things that El Paso has to offer, and we hope that you know more about El Paso if you are ever in the area. I'm sure Krista would love to host you and show you around. So,
Yes, yes.
for those of you that may be watching in the future, leave us. Please feel free to leave us a message to let us know what you think of these lives. If there's something that you see that you'd like for us to talk about, let us know, and we will be more than happy to oblige you. But for now, we want to thank you for joining us. We want you to know that we love you. Jesus loves you most of all, and we're praying for you. And we hope you have an awesome night. From the igloo, stay warm. Over and out.
Bye.
Good night.